Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So a couple of my friends are working on a TV show, so I thought it'd be fun to try and do a couple of videos for. You may have heard of Beowulf. It's going to be starting next week in the United States. It's airing on the Esquire network. This is just going to be an explainer for what's going on. Most of you probably had to study a version of Beowulf in high school, but what it is the oldest living English poem. It's actually written in Old English, which is a different language from English, but you get the idea. It was actually written sometime between the 8th and the 11th century. The simple explanation is that the poem itself is all about what it means to be a hero. It's one of the original hero's tales. You guys may have heard me talk about Joseph Campbell's Hero of a Thousand Faces. It's all about the hero's journey. Most major Hollywood films, including the big superhero films, are built on that hero's journey. Beowulf is one of the original versions of that. The TV show is telling a version of that story, just expanding on the characters. It's going to be a 13-episode series. If you're not sure when this is going to be on, it's January 23rd. That's a Saturday. That's going to be episode 1 on the Esquire network. Usually I mess the time up just because I watch shows in a bunch of different time zones. But on the Esquire network, it's 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 Central. And if you live in a different time zone, just be sure to double check your channel guide. So for the next couple of weeks, it's just going to be one of my Saturday videos. I've kind of been looking for something to replace my Saturday videos because Doctor Who's off the air. I'd say the tone of the show is pretty close to Bastard Executioner, Rome, Outlander. So if you've been watching those shows, you have a pretty good feel for the pacing. Now obviously it's set in a much different time and a much different area, but you kind of get the idea. The Beowulf legend itself is actually Scandinavian, so it's actually all happening way further north. Beowulf is the protagonist of the series, so it largely follows his perspective, but because the poem itself is so short, they've expanded it. We're going to be following a lot of other characters' stories that are inside that poem. They posted a short trailer, so I'm going to play it here.
This time, they mean to destroy it. All of us.
Who killed him?
Not who, but what.
Well, whoever it was, I'll find them.
There are no finer warriors in the Shieldlands.
Kill him. I heard that even as a boy, he had a way with killing.
There will be bloodshed.
Doesn't that just sound familiar? If you thought there was a happy ending to this, then you haven't been paying attention. Beowulf itself is all about the idea of the heroic code, value systems, the difference between being a good warrior, being a good king, and the idea that following that code, doing the right thing, doesn't always lead to the best possible outcome. You don't ride off into the sunset on a cloud. So the idea of living by a code is a very big deal.
I heard that even as a boy, he had a way with killing.
It was a gift from my father.
You don't belong here. Before you get close enough to use those, he'll be dead.
There are a few changes from the original poem. In the poem, Beowulf is one of the Geats. He's already a hero when he meets these new people. So he's kind of like a stranger in a strange land, but he's this big badass. He comes to help them out. In the series, he meets these people from the poem as a small child, and he grows up with them for a time, and then gets banished, then comes back to court and the craziness starts. The craziness that he gets into in the poem with Grendel. In real-world history, they were the Danes, so really what the TV series is doing is just giving him more history with those Danish characters. But he himself in the poem is from the Geats, which is actually a different place over here. Really the idea is that he's become this big warrior in his time away. He's developed this code, his warrior's code, and the code's going to be tested by the craziness that's going on with his former family. But it's not just the supernatural aspect with Grendel and his mother. There's a lot of other stuff going on that'll weave in with the prehistory that they tell during the first episode. And a lot of that backstory, like the great adventures that he had while he was away, the stuff that happened, the reason that he got banished in the first place, they'll tease that out as the series goes along.
Back up. No. Look, they wanted it, they've got it. Now back up now!
It's not as cut and dry as simply being good and bad, and he makes some decisions which I think people will find pretty morally reprehensible. And in that respect, he is very much an anti-hero. But in that respect as well, he is also very human.
If you're ever going to be a warrior, this is what it's about.
The story that we have here, it's set up with stakes are very high right from the beginning. There are so many different things. It's so rich. Love, family, loss, and ambition.
So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's way more hardcore than the stuff you'll see on MTV or any of the other networks. You'll probably recognize at least a couple of the actors. Kieran Bruce, the protagonist, he's playing Beowulf. You'll probably remember him from Da Vinci's Demons if you've been watching that show. William Hurt is playing Hrothgar, another huge character. But what I'm going to do is I'll explain a little bit more about who all the characters are when I do my episode 1 video. But that's not going to air till the 23rd, so you guys still have plenty of time to catch up. There is a dedicated website for the show right now. It's esquiretv.com/Beowulf. They have a bunch of interviews, a bunch of behind-the-scenes stuff, so I'll put a link in the description for where to find that. Or you can search your guide, like your guide on your TV, for Beowulf. That should get you to where you need. But if you do have any other big questions, just leave them in the comments and we can figure it out as we go along. So hopefully you guys like it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm just going to do a couple videos for it. It'll be a Saturday video. So be sure to subscribe to get everything. And I will put some extra links in the description for where to find the website for the series. They have extra clips and interviews and stuff there with all the actors. So it's actually pretty cool. So check it out. So if you guys are still confused about what's going on, you can click here. That'll take you straight to the website. They have a whole bunch of stuff there. Remember, episodes are going to start next week. So I'll start posting videos. It'll be a Saturday thing. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.